Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're taking a look at a video called LA Activists Respond to NRA. Let's check it out.
They use their guns to assassinate black people. They use their schools to funnel black students through a school-to-prison pipeline. They use their state institutions, bought politicians, business conglomerates, and white supremacist domestic terrorists to incite violence over and over again.
Who did what now? You're being pretty vague, lady. Who's assassinating black people? I'm gonna go ahead and assume you're talking about the cops, I guess, who are not assassinating anyone. If cops are forced to shoot black people, it's because they did something wrong that got them there. Cops aren't shooting blacks or anyone for no reason. They're shooting criminals who are threatening other people's lives and their own. As for the school to prison pipeline bullshit you're talking about, well, people who go to prison go there for a reason too. And it's not racism. It's because, again, they're fucking committing crimes. Racism isn't the explanation for everything bad that happens to black people. If blacks are getting shot and going to jail more, it's their fault for committing crimes.
And then they use their new president to enact a law and order administration. All to make them shoot first, to make them ask questions later, make them scream, "I thought he had a gun in his hand."
So what, you think the cops are all just faking these violent crimes they're stopping? Even these videos you cherry pick show that the people the cops are arresting are resisting, at least a little bit. So even if they were innocent at the beginning, they're doing something wrong now. You can't resist arrest, even if you're innocent. And I love how she says our new president is enacting a law and order administration. Like that's a fucking bad thing? Law and order is good, you fucking moron. We live in this thing called society, and yeah, it needs a few rules to work properly. One of which is don't commit crimes, don't steal things, and don't try and shoot people. Sorry if you're not used to these laws and rules, but that's how we run things here. Welcome to Western civilization. And I know the black people like it in America because you're not trying to move back to Africa or anything. So if you want to live here in the best country in the world, you gotta follow a few simple rules. Not stealing and resisting arrest are just a few of them. I'm really starting to think these Black Lives Matter people think they're above the law. I mean, they do call justified police shootings assassinations, and then they talk about law and order like it's a fucking bad thing. I really don't see why they think the rules don't apply to them.
And I feared for my life, and he matched the description of a suspect, and she was threatening us to shoot and kill Philando Castile, Charlena Lyles, Keisha Michael, Keith Bursey, and Waukesha Wilson.
Oh geez, this old line again. I can't fucking believe black people still bring up Philando fucking Castile as a good example. I don't know if you know this racist bald black lady, but the guy who shot Philando was cleared of all charges. Not to mention he was Hispanic, but that's beside the point. The point here is that a jury of 12 of his peers, including a number of black people, they unanimously found Philando's shooter not guilty. That means it was a justified shooting in self-defense. You dum-dum. Even the videotape evidence shows Philando was reaching when the cop told him not to.
Okay, don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Well, we can hear them talking about it at least. And if you reach for a gun when someone else has a gun pointed at you, well, that's not really a good idea. To be honest, this is just Darwinism playing out in the real world. If Philando was dumb enough to do this on that day, well, he would have gotten himself killed or arrested one day eventually. He's not the brightest crayon in the box, to say the least. If he was, he'd still be fucking alive. And I don't really know all the other people she named in this line here, but if she's gonna lead things off with Philando fucking Castile, she must be reaching real hard already.
Until the only option left is for black people to disrupt the systems that keep us oppressed and build the kinds of communities in which we want to live.
Hold on, two things there. Disrupting the systems, as you put it, that sounds pretty sketchy. If you're advocating for protests, that's one thing, but this sounds like a call to revolt. Sounds like you want a rebellion. And I'm sorry, honey, but that's just gonna get more black people put in jail. The second point I want to bring up is, how are black people oppressed again? I don't get it. What rights don't you guys have? You say this so calm and matter of fact, like you've been raised to believe this shit all your life, but what's the actual oppression you're talking about? Because police shooting criminals is not oppression. That's called law enforcement. And more black people in prisons isn't oppression. That's called criminals serving time for the crimes they've committed. So stop blaming everyone else for your failed community, black lady. It's time for you to start taking some blame yourselves. Take responsibility for your own actions. Be a fucking adult. The worst part about this video is they won't even call out the big biggest threat that black people have in this country. Other black people. That's who's killing the most blacks. Your own goddamn people. But no, let's not even address that. No, let's attack the cops. The people who are trying to help us.
And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse to kill more of us. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our communities and our struggle for freedom, is to fight this violence with the raised, clenched black fist of resistance.
Yeah, more violence. That's the answer. Resistance. Kind of like how Philando and many other dummies got shot for resisting arrest. That kind of resistance. Jesus Christ. This lady is so fucking dumb. This is the kind of rhetoric that got black people in trouble with crime and the police to begin with. And what's her solution? More violence and resistance. What a fucking retard.
We are Black Lives Matter, and we are freedom's future place. Wait, hold up. What's with the aggressive fear-mongering video tactics? Someone cut the music and bring up the lights. Better.
Oh shit, we're breaking the fourth wall, guys. Black Lives Matter really went for it with this one.
We're talking about our lives here. When the NRA issues a public call to their constituents inciting violence against people who are constitutionally fighting for their lives, we don't take that lightly.
The NRA is calling to violence? Nigga, you're the ones calling for violence. How many shootings have the NRA been involved in the last year? How many NRA members have gone out and murdered innocent cops? None that I can recall, but Black Lives Matter? You guys have been inciting violence, riots, and shootings for fucking years. Black Lives Matter is the problem, not the National Rifle Association.
We know that we are not safe, but we are not scared either. We will continue to produce media, teach students, march, and protest to not only protect the First Amendment as fiercely as the NRA protects the Second, but to protect our lives from gun-toting racists.
Everyone who has a gun is a racist now. Unless you're black, of course. Black gang members shooting other black people every day in Chicago, that's fine. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the cops and the NRA, the non-problem.
We demand the NRA immediately remove their dangerous propaganda videos narrated by conservative talk radio hosts Dana Lash and Grant Stinchfield.
So you're all for the First Amendment right to protest and speak your mind when it works for you. But if someone else says something you don't like, then boom, let's take away the right to speak. Fucking fascists, man. Now we're to the worst part of the video. Here's where they shamelessly expose the plight of people who had family members die in altercations with the police. People who probably shouldn't be on a camera to begin with. I mean, look at this girl on the left. I think she's high on drugs right now. Oh, and this video is not going to get into any of the details of how their family members died. Keith Bursey could have walked into a police station firing an AK-47 for all we know. But Black Lives Matter wants us just to assume these police shootings were racist and unjustified. Hell, they want you to assume every police shooting of a black person was because of racism, even though over 99% of police shootings are fucking justified. But you know what? Let's take a look. I got nothing better to do. Let's see what happened in this story here with Keith Bursey, for shits and gigs. Why did Keith Bursey get shot by police? Well, according to this article from the LA Times, Bursey was a 31-year-old gang member who was pulled over by the police. He came out of his car armed with a fucking gun, and after a scuffle with the police, they were forced to shoot him. Sounds pretty justified to me.
It was justified.
Now let's look at the next one. Oh, a cousin of the deceased. Seems like more reaching, but let's give him a chance, eh? How did Charlena Lyles get killed? Well, here's the report from the Seattle Times. Apparently Charlena called the cops about a burglary. That's a funny start. Why would black people call the cops if they're so racist to them? I don't know, but they still do it all the time. Doesn't make sense, but let's move on. Anyway, when the cops showed up, Charlena, great picture by the way, well, Char was brandishing a knife, and with her 3 kids in the house, no less. So again, she had a weapon and wasn't complying with the police, so they had no choice but to shoot her to try and protect themselves and the fucking children. You guys starting to see the patterns here? Every time one of these incidents is brought up, the black person has a weapon. They don't listen to the police and it gets them shot. And then their families try to act like they were these innocent family people who got shot because of racism. It's fucking ridiculous. And don't forget, these are the best examples Black Lives Matter has to offer. God damn, this is pathetic. Well, these two look like productive members of society. Can you even get a job with hair and tattoos like that? I don't know, but I'm sure we all know by now how this Keisha Michael story is gonna go. But you know what? Let's take a look anyway. It looks like Keisha and her boyfriend were passed out in their car in the middle of the street at 3 in the morning in Inglewood. The cops approached and saw there was a fucking gun sitting on Keisha's lap. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, the cops spent 45 minutes trying to peacefully get the cracked out gun-wielding criminals out of their car. Details are a bit sketchy, but apparently there was eventually an altercation that didn't end well for the two stoners in the seats. The toxicity reports found that both of the deceased were drunk, well over the legal limit, and Keisha may have been high on meth. Another great example of racist police, right? Fascism. Wow, you're gonna accuse us of fascism? That's rich. I got some advice for you guys. Here's what you do if you really want safety, Black Lives Matter. Don't do drugs and carry around weapons, especially not in public and around police. And if that fails and you find yourself high on meth with a gun in your lap at 3 in the morning in the middle of Inglewood, well, just comply with the fucking officers. The cops don't want to shoot you, but if you act a fool, they fucking will, as they should. Personally, I thank the Lord every day that there's cops out there to deal with crazy, violent black people like this. Otherwise, we'd have to do it. I'm really starting to think the whole reason Black Lives Matter hates the police is because they want to get away with more crimes. These black people clearly think they did nothing wrong. They think reaching for weapons and trying to stab cops should be okay because, you know, they were just family men and women, right? Wrong. Having a family or being a mother doesn't mean shit. John Wayne Gacy had a family. Hannibal Lecter had a mother. That shit family excuse just needs to die, along with this Black Lives Matter, anti-white, anti-cop propaganda. What do you guys think? Are the cops all racist trying to bring down the black people? Or do black people have problems of their own they need to address and solve internally? Comment below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time. And don't forget, this show is funded and supported by viewers like you. Like, comment, and subscribe for new videos every week. Hit that bell button below to get email notifications of our new uploads. We also have merchandise such as shirts, sweaters, stickers, and coffee mugs in our Teespring store. Join our Patreon to support monthly for as low as $1. You can get bonus videos and all kinds of cool stuff. There's also Amazon affiliate links and all of our other links in the description below. Thanks again for watching and supporting. I want to give a special thanks to these amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You guys went above and beyond the rest, and I love you so much for it. If anyone else wants to donate or join our Patreon crew, link in the description. We're going to be setting up more videos and live streams very soon. Thanks again.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but
You remain 1 point ahead.